massive destruction.
Alright, I think we're good. We're ready to start. Hello, ghouls, ghosts, and Themlins. This is CyberBattiee, and welcome to the second half of the Dynamic Hands Study, Part 4 that we started last week. So, I'm not sure what happened. It seemed like the stream got cut for whatever reason. I could not figure out from my end if it was like a computer issue or a Wi-Fi issue. It didn't seem like there was anything going on with the Wi-Fi at the time, but whatever. We're gonna continue and finish what we started. So last time we got pretty far, actually. We were like almost just about done with this piece. So what we want to do now, we're going to move on. Go ahead and pick out one of my large size brushes here. Okay. All right, I think that's good. Okay. We were just moving around a couple things on the screen here so that way we had space. All right, let's get into this. So let's see. We're going to do a quick peek at the reference again. Let's turn off the file, the layer. So it seems like we did get most of the shadow layer done. I'm not sure if we need more. It looks fine to me, the shadow layer that we've got going. Let's move on to that blue highlight that we are seeing. Let's take a peek at it. There's this little blue highlight that's happening here on the right side of the hand and along the edge of the palm here. So this is reflected light that we're seeing from the computer monitor that I was sitting next to when I took the picture. So we do want to get a little bit of that reflected light. We also have a little bit of it here as well going down the thumb. And probably a little bit of it right here on the tendon here. So let's go ahead and turn this off. I'm going to press X to flip the color around to the background color. Let's go ahead and find, using the eyedropper tool, let's find, I pressed I for the eyedropper tool. Let's find a color that's similar around in saturation, but we want to make it more of a cyan color. It doesn't have to be super bright. Maybe somewhere around here. Let's see what that looks like. Press B for the brush tool. Actually, we're not going to be able to see that because the opacity is at 3%. So let's press 0 for it to get to 100%. God damn. Okay, that's pretty bright. Maybe let's lower it a little bit here. Yeah, that's fine. That looks okay to me. Alright, we're going to drop down the opacity to 20%, so just click 2 on your keyboard. Let's go ahead and make this brush size a little smaller. Alright. Actually, I'm kind of thinking that 20% is still a little bright. Let's lower that back down to 10%, so click 1 on your keyboard. And yeah, let's start. This remote likes to freaking fight me, because every time I start trying to lower the brush size, it pops back up, and I'm just like, bro, what are you doing? So we do want to kind of go over the line here a bit, because we want to try to drown out that dark line, the dark outline that I did here. It does make it a little, you know, unrealistic if it's got a dark outline, so we're just going to drown that a little bit. So since this is a little bright, I'm going to lower the opacity even further to 5%, so hit 0.5 on your keyboard. And we're just going to blend here on the corner. Press the right bracket to increase the size if you're using a keyboard of your brush. The left bracket lowers the brush size. So we're just blending very slightly at the edge here. Pressing X to transfer back the color from the background color to the foreground color. I'm going to put a little bit of the shadow back in here. We lost a bit of it. There we go. With that same opacity, we're just blending a little bit. It shouldn't be super dark, because then you'll lose that bright cyan stripe that we've got going, and we do want to keep it a bit, but we don't want it to be like, it shouldn't take up the entire finger, you know what I mean? It should be just to the right of this finger. Okay. Now we're moving on to this finger here. Press X to switch back to the bright cyan color. And hit 1 on your keyboard to bring the opacity to 10%. Now we're just going to fill this little bit in. This time let's not go too overly bright, because then we'll lose our shadow layer. And it does help to lower the brush size, of course. So hit the left bracket to lower your brush size if you're using a keyboard. We're just going to make the bright edge as bright as possible, and then feather it out towards the left side. Going over the line here so that it's not so vibrant. You're still going to see it. I'm not trying to completely remove the lines, but we do want to try to get, you know, a good amount of color on top of the lines. Okay, so now let's feather this out and blend it towards the left. So press the right bracket to increase your brush size. And I'm going to lower the opacity to actually 3%, so 0.3 on your keyboard. And just feather it out. You're probably going to have to go over this a couple of times, that's okay. Now you see how it's gradually building up right here? That's what we're going for. It shouldn't be overly bright, but it should give it a nice bit of the hue of this bright color, this bright cyan color. That looks good to me. Press X on your keyboard to switch back to the background color. I'm going to bring back a little bit of the shadow, so hit 0.5 on your keyboard for 5% opacity. And we're just going to build a little bit of that shadow. It's going to peek a little bit into this cyan stripe, and that's okay. We want a nice blend happening of the two colors. There we go. Okay, hit the left bracket on your keyboard to lower the brush size. We're just going to fill in right here a little bit of that shadow. Especially right here, this part of the cyan strip is going to be dark because of where it's sitting on the finger. Not too dark, of course, but just dark enough that you can tell that this is a little darker than over here, you know? Same thing for probably about here. I'm just going to darken that bit right. Just a smidge. Okay. Looking good so far. Let's move on to the next finger. Press X on your keyboard to switch to the background color. We're going to bring the opacity. Maybe we could just stay at 5%. Nah, let's bring it up to 10%. Hit 1 on your keyboard for 10%. We could do 0. We could do 5%, but I feel like we would have to build it up a lot. And that's going to take a longer time. Let's just be mindful of the brightness of this brush, of this opacity here. And we're just going to do a small amount of this heavier opacity, of this much more brighter opacity on the brush. I want to do a little reflected light right here, a little bit of harsh reflected light right there. And from here, hit 0.3 on your keyboard for 3%. Hit the right bracket to increase the brush size. And from here, we're just going to feather it out. You know, I just realized that my music is not playing, so all you guys are hearing is just me talking. I'm sure that's, you know.
New ride? Yep. We're cruising in style with Verizon Home Internet. Got it for just $25 a month. No hidden fees.
Okay. Valerian says, Lamo, I thought the music was just bad low. No, but it's on. It was just... Okay, it was on the page, but I didn't press play. So it's completely my fault. My bad. Alright, getting back to work. Let's go ahead and feather this out a bit. Let me know if the music is, like, too low. Oh, it's too loud? Okay, yeah, let me lower that a bit. Okay, how's that? Can y'all hear me talking okay, or is it still a little too loud? Okay, perfect. Let me know if, you know, anytime you guys are having a hard time hearing me or there's a lag happening. You know, that way I can definitely take a look and see if I can fix some of these problems. I want y'all to have a good, you know, stream where it's not not super laggy and crap like that, because who wants to watch a laggy stream? That's boring. Alright, so back to this. We're going to feather this out. Okay, now from here, let's go ahead, hit X to change the color, hit 0.5 for 5% opacity, and we're just going to add a little bit more shadow right here and blend it. This line right here should be the darkest part of this finger. So we're gonna make this as dark as possible. Not super dark now, but you know, dark enough. And then feather it down this way. Try to follow the shape of the finger in like a circular motion, like this. Okay. Left bracket to decrease the size of the brush. And let's go down along with the knuckle here, following the shape of the finger. Same thing for this end knuckle here. Okay. And right here. Left bracket to decrease the brush size. Right bracket to increase the brush size. We're just going to keep feathering and blending. Actually, we're getting a little dark, so let's hit 0.3 on the keyboard to lower the opacity back to 3%. Okay. You might have to come in here with a highlighter and just feather this down a little bit, but that's okay. We haven't done the highlight layer yet, that'll be last. So we'll fix any overly dark sections of the hand with some light pink, like a muted light pink. Okay, coming in here, adding a little bit more shadow. Alright, hit X to switch colors. We're gonna raise it to 10%. So hit 1 on your keyboard. Right bracket to increase the brush size. Well, this is pretty big. Let's lower it a little bit. Left bracket to decrease the brush size. So, how is everybody doing? If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. It definitely helps us out. Now we're gonna go along the knuckles here. Now while we're doing this, we want to remember, where does the light hit the hand? There will also be like some catch lights on these little bits of wrinkles here. It's not as easy to see them at the moment, but yeah, just a little tiny bit. You just make a really small line right there. We could probably come back over here and do that as well. That's fine, we can save that for later. It's like one of those smaller details. Let's not get too bogged down in details at the moment. 0.3 for the opacity. Right bracket to increase the brush size, and now let's feather it out. Also, I do want to give a shout out to Enter Dystopian Records. The music that y'all are hearing is from their YouTube channel. I've credited them down in the description below. If you like their music, please consider subscribing or even purchasing their music. We're not sponsored by them, but I love their music, so I typically have something of theirs going while I'm working. So definitely want to give them, you know, a nice shout out. Okay. It's looking good. Let's hit X to switch to the darker color, and we're going to blend this here. 0.5 for 5% opacity. We don't want it to get super dark along this line here. We just want to make a blended color of these two, of that dark purple color and the bright cyan color. Hit R on your keyboard to rotate the entire canvas. press and hold the space bar so you get this little hand, and then you can drag to move your canvas around. B for brush. Press B on your keyboard for brush. And let's just get in right here. I'm going to lower the opacity to 3%, so 0.3 on your keyboard. Right bracket to increase the brush size. Holding down the spacebar to get the hand tool so I can move the canvas. Left bracket to lower the brush size. We're just going to go along this knuckle line here, since this is going to have like a nice dark shadow underneath it. Right bracket to increase brush size, and we're just going to go in here and make this spot a little darker. There we go. Same thing for right here. This right here is the shadow of this finger, and it's the darkest spot on this side of this pinky finger. So we do want to make sure it's got a nice dark purple on it. Okay. Hit R to rotate your canvas. Enter. 0. Enter. That way you can rotate the canvas to be the right side up. Hit B on your keyboard to switch to the brush tool. Actually, I kind of want to clean up this edge right here. So I hit E. Actually, let's make sure it's the correct eraser before I start doing anything. That is not the eraser. What is you doing? Okay. For some reason it was giving me like the clone tool tutorial or whatever, and I'm just like, don't do that. I know what the clone tool is and I don't need it right now. Actually, I did a little too much. Control Z. Okay. No erase, only clones. Alright, so another helpful keyboard tip. If you want to decrease the edge of your brush, like let's say you don't want like this hard, you see how that's like a hard circle, and you want it to be more rounded, how to say, like feathered around the edge? I'm gonna hit Control Z to undo that. What you want to do is hold down your Shift key and then left bracket to decrease the hardness of your brush. So now, when you erase, it's feathered. It's not such a hard edge. I took too much off, so I'm gonna click Control Z to undo that. But yeah, in case anyone needed that helpful tip, we're just gonna get rid of some of this edge, making the size of the brush a little small. We're just going to go up in here. We are going to do a final cleanup of the line art once we are done with the entire piece, like more or less done, but I did want to just take some of that off. Same thing with right here. Okay, so that for the eraser tool, just hit E for the eraser tool, in case I don't remember if I actually said it, but yeah, E is for the eraser tool. Now let's hit B to go back to the brush tool. Okay, so now we're gonna hit X to go back to that bright cyan color, and we're gonna get all along here down the palm and the wrist. Let's bring our brush to 10% by hitting 1 in the keyboard, and let's get in here. Left bracket to decrease the brush size. Okay. Right bracket to increase it. R to rotate your canvas. And just drag. Okay. Holding down the spacebar to move the canvas. B for brush. And let's just get along this edge right here. This is going to be the brightest part of the cyan on the palm. Okay. Right bracket to increase the brush size, and then we're going to lower the opacity to 3%, so 0.3 on your keyboard. And now we're just going to feather this out. We don't want any hard edges in here, so right along this edge, make sure you just keep layering on the color until that edge disappears. And then just gradually move along towards the inner part of the palm. This little bit right here is getting on my nerves. I can see a dark line along, and it's like not getting bright enough fast enough, so I'm gonna hit the 0.5 and just annihilate that line. Alright, I think we're good. Let's hit 0.3 to go back to 3%. Right bracket to increase your brush size. And we're gonna feather. Holding down the spacebar to move your canvas. Let's not forget about this section here. Let's bring it up to 0.5. Left bracket to decrease the size of the brush. Let me know if y'all want me to stop saying what keys I'm hitting on the keyboard, because I know I'm saying it repetitively. But I guess I keep saying it in case any new people join the live and they're like not sure what I'm pressing, so yeah. But if it bothers anybody, I'll stop saying the key commands over and over. Okay, and then let's go to 0.3, increase the brush size, and just feather. Keeping this low brush size here, let's do a little line along the tendon of some reflected light, with it being brightest at the tip, at the crown, and then feathering down until it's like very light, the opacity at the bottom. Let's make sure we get right here. I do want to kind of drown out that dark line that's here, so we are going to paint over it. We don't need the line to emphasize the curvature of the palm. So we're just going to 0.5 for the opacity, increase the opacity. We're just gonna color right along that. Left bracket to decrease your brush size. And let's just drown that line out. 03. Yeah. Just want to make sure there's no hard edge. R to rotate, enter, 0, enter, control 0 to bring the canvas to the size of your screen. B for brush, and now we're going to throw down a hard save. Alright, so it's looking good. I mean, there are some parts here and there that I do need to fix. I'm going to go in with the darker brush and blend along the palm here a little bit. I'm going to blend that bright cyan with the dark purple. Just giving it a moment to fully save. Alright, we're back on. Alright, so let's go ahead and hit X on the keyboard to change over to that dark color. 0.5 for the opacity. Control plus to zoom in on your canvas. Pressing and holding down the space bar and just drag to get to the palm section. Actually, we zoomed in a little too far, so control minus to zoom out, or command minus on a Mac. Left bracket to decrease the brush size. Actually, you know, a bigger brush size would probably be better. Hit R to rotate. Pressing and holding the space bar to move your canvas. B back to brush, and we're just gonna go along here. And blend. It's a little dark, so let's do 0.3. Let's do 3% opacity. Holding down the spacebar to move your canvas. Left bracket to decrease the size. I've actually used a 1% opacity brush before. I don't know, call that anal, but I was like, no, this is too dark. I gotta do it as light as possible. As light as fucking Photoshop will let me. To my knowledge, Photoshop doesn't do decimals, so 1% was the lowest I could go. But yeah, we're gonna go along the edge here to create like a shadow. Right bracket to increase the brush size and just feather this down. Same thing on this side. This here is like a fold in the palm of the skin. Control minus or command minus on a Mac to zoom out. Right bracket to increase the brush size. I do want to make this spot right here at the edge of the palm, connecting from to the tendon. I do want to make this spot a little less bright. So we're gonna focus in right there and just add a good deal of dark. We also want to go along this bottom edge of the palm. So I'm just rapidly switching between smaller and bigger brush sizes. So left and right brackets on your keyboard. Left is to make it smaller, right is to make it bigger. Okay. Well, make sure you're going in the curvature of the palm. Follow the curvature of the hand. If you do just like a straight line like that, that's going to be super unrealistic. Control Z to undo what I just did. And now we have this line right here, so I also want to add a little bit of shadow to the bottom right section of that. This is probably going to have a little bit of the bright cyan color on it. We do have to do the thumb. The thumb hasn't been cyanified. That's a new word. Just following the line of the nail bed here. I'm surprised Valerian didn't pop up with just like cyanified or something. Making fun of me for my funky words I like to make up. So now we're just adding a little bit of this dark purple around in the shadowy areas. Listen, I like the idea of cyanifying everything. I do want to add a bit of a wash here. It does have some purple from what I remember of last week, but it doesn't have enough, so we're gonna just go ahead and blend a little bit of this purple. Still keeping that low opacity brush. Just gonna make a nice little wash here. Remembering to go along with the curvature of the palm. You know, I kind of made this a little too dark now that I'm looking at that, but that's okay. I'll go in there and lighten that up a little bit with the cyan. R to rotate, and then drag your canvas around. Left bracket to decrease the brush size. We don't want to make this section too dark because this is the lighter half of the hand. But I do want to add a little bit of shadow right there. R to rotate, enter, 0, enter. B. Okay. Control 0 or Command 0 on a Mac to decrease the scale of the canvas to your screen size. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to this thumb here. Hit X on your keyboard to switch back to the cyan color. We're going to pop that up to 10%. So hit 1 on your keyboard to get to 10%. Right bracket to increase the brush size, and then let's just go right into the thumb there. Control plus or Command plus on a Mac to zoom in. Now we're going to move right here. As we saw in the reference photo, there was a teensy bit right here of some of the brightness, the secondary highlight that was happening. So, using that as a template, I'm not going to follow it exactly, but I am going to do a little brightness here. It's not going to be nearly as bright as this side is. It's just a little bit of brightness, especially right here. Let's lower this to 0.5 and feather it out. The point of this exercise is, you know, for me to try to get better with where I'm putting my shadows and highlights and stuff. As well as the anatomy of trying to draw these hands in these positions, you know? Okay, so this is a little bright, but that's okay. We're going to take the shadow color here and blend it on this side. So let's pop it up to Actually, 5% is fine. Yeah. Leaving it at the 5% opacity, let's go ahead and add this shadow in. Trying to keep along with the curvature of the finger. And just feather it out. Rotating the canvas, hit R, and then just drag your canvas to the way you need it, to what position you need it. Okay. Lower the opacity, the brush size with the left bracket. I'm just gonna go in here and follow along with this knuckle. Okay, so over here, let's also start to blend a little bit of that purple in. Whoops. Okay, lower the brush size with the left bracket, and we're just gonna go along this little line. Let's not make this shadow here too dark because of where it is. It's along the highlight area that we're going to do in a minute with a lighter brush, a lighter colored pink. Okay. There's a bit of a hard edge right here that I want to get rid of. Okay, right bracket to increase the brush size, and we're just going to all together. Okay, I think we're making this thumb a little too dark. Yeah, it's definitely a little too dark. That's okay. Let's check out the reference photo. So now from here, we do want to move on to this section here. We're going to start doing the highlights. So what's here, 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 all along and on this side of the palm, along this side of the wrist, we're going to start adding that little brighter pink color. There's probably going to be a line here for the secondary highlight, since skin is reflective. I know that sounds weird, but skin is reflective, and it does reflect light. I kind of just start thinking when you think about skin being reflective, I'm just like, am I made of crystals? Because that's what it feels like. Alright, anyway. Back to this. Let's go ahead and hit the eyedropper tool. We're gonna just pick a spot that's got a bright enough section, probably about here. And from there, let's make it a little more bright on the more pinkish side. I am a moonstone and no one can tell me otherwise. That's great. So I do want it to be muted. I don't want it to be like a bright hue. Like, how to say? A very overly saturated hue. But it does need to be brighter than this. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. Let's hit 1 on the keyboard for 10%. Okay, that's not bad. Control Z or Command Z on a Mac to undo. And now we're just going to add right here the highlights. You know, I probably should have did more of the dark shadow along this side of the cyan, because this finger was more in shadow than the other fingers. That's okay. Alright, let's go ahead and start. Control plus to zoom in onto your canvas, or Command plus on a Mac. So we're going to start right here. Left bracket to decrease the brush size, and we're just going to go along this line right here. This 10% is actually pretty bright. I'm going to lower that to 5%, 0.5. Yeah, and we'll just build up this color for the highlights, for any spots that really need a brighter color, but this is pretty bright as it is, you know? So let's go ahead along this line here of the palm. Let's go ahead and add this bright color. Along, on top of this line here, on top of the line, the line art that we did. We do want to kind of drown it. It's okay if it doesn't fully cover it. This is not meant to be super clean. This is just a practice after all. It's mostly a color practice than anything. Okay, so now we're going to go along this line, because this line did have a nice bright highlight. Now for highlight's sake, you want to do it in sections. Like the brightness should be bright in sections. It shouldn't be the full line. At least that's what I found. And then for the in-between section, you'll just feather it out. This part here will be the darkest or dimmest part of the highlight. This part here will be the brightest, and so will this part here, if that makes any sense. I'm not an art teacher, so don't expect me to explain things like an art teacher does, because this is just how I learned to do things. From my years of working with art and crud like that, artsy-fartsy work. Alright, let's increase the brush size here, and we're just going to feather that hard line out. So this spot had like a circular kind of texturing. So we do want to follow that line, follow that angle, and just go in a circle like that. And we're gonna blend out any of these hard edges. It shouldn't be any hard, crisp edges happening, if you get what I mean. And we're gonna go along this way. Just feather. This is actually getting pretty bright, so we're going to lower it to 3%. Lower the brush size. Okay. Alright. So now we're going to continue this highlight along this way. Let's bring it up to 5%. Just go along this line. Okay. The key here is less is more. It's super easy to oversaturate and overcolor this area, which I probably already started doing on the palm section. But that's okay. We're gonna go back and blend, so it won't be as bright in the end. That's our whole technique throughout this whole piece, is we're going to be blending all the colors that we're putting down. So I know at first it seems like a lot of color, but we will be blending it. Okay. We're just doing a nice little round. My fingers are very plump at the base, so I'm just going along with the curvature of my fingers. So I'm sure Valerian is going to say something about that. Alright, we're going to move down to this finger now. So yeah, we're drowning out the line there and just putting meaty fingers, tiny fingernails, the whole package. Okay. I'm happy I could be an entire package for someone. Alright, let's increase the brush size and we're gonna just blend this down. I'm actually gonna lower the opacity to 3%, so 0.3 on your keyboard. And we're just gonna blend that down. Okay. And now let's do right here. Now as we go down this finger, because this finger is bent with the first knuckle being closest to the camera, that part is going to be the brightest. This part is going to be less bright, and then this is going to be the least brightest part of the finger. So we do want to go in like a gradient effect. This should be medium in its brightness, and this should be the little bit, the most smallest amount of brightness you can add compared to the other two segments of the finger. Remember to go along with the curvature of the finger and just blend. Okay, I think that's good enough for this finger right here. Let's move on to the next one. This finger is half bent all the way with the first segment pointed directly at the camera, almost directly on. It's got a little bit of a fingernail. That's what tells you that it's like not fully direct pointed, but it is near directly pointed, if that makes any damn sense. Alright, 0.5 for 5%. Listen, if I don't make any damn sense, like, just say in the comments, bro, what? So I can, like, try to explain myself better. I'm not good with explanations, I will warn you, though. Alright, we're gonna go along this line. And just try to cover that hard edge. Here, we're going to feather it down so that it connects with that cyan color, but we don't want it to be overly bright. So we're going to lower the opacity to 3% and blend it down. Very slightly. And that's it. Okay, increase your brush size and just blend right here. Yeah, remember we did make the shadow on this edge of the finger a little too much, reaching too far this way, so we are going to take it back a little bit. Okay. Increase your brush size and let's just blend out. Well, blend in, but you know. It might be easier if we rotate the canvas, so hit R on your keyboard. And then just direct the canvas in what direction you need it to be to make it easier for you. Press and hold the space bar so that way you can free move. B to go back to the brush tool. And now we're just going to blend. And you do want to overtake that dark edge of the shadow. That way it blends. Making sure to go with the curvature of the finger. See that? We're going to do that here along this dark line. And I'm just trying to get rid of this hard edge that I see here. And we're just blending in that dark line. Not too much that we lose it, but enough that it transitions from that dark purple to this pink. Okay, over here too. Just gonna give a nice little wash to this section. Okay. We will be doing the nails last, in case anyone's wondering why the nails are still blank. My nails are painted black, so we're gonna have a fun time with different dark shades of blue. Okay. Okay. R to rotate, enter, 0, enter. Control 0 or Command 0 on a Mac. Let's just take a quick step back and look at how the piece is progressing. And we're going to throw down a hard save. So Command or Control S. Command S on a Mac, Control S on a PC. On a Windows. Maybe I should change my name to the Stuttering Artist, because every time I do one of these streams, I'm constantly stuttering. I don't even know why. It's like just a habit. It just happens. We're just going to give the Photoshop a chance to fully save the file, and then we're going to get back to work. But if anyone's following along, use this as your break. Go to the bathroom, grab something to drink, make sure you stay hydrated. Alright, let's get back to it. Alright, Control plus or Command plus on a Mac to zoom in. Or don't do that and grab some coffee, some soda, or some candy and go full Gremlin Chaos mode. Yes, that's also an option. Alright, we zoomed in a little too far, so Control minus or Command minus on a Mac to zoom out. And now we want to add the littlest bit of highlight along this finger. This finger is mostly in shadow, so it shouldn't be super bright. So we're going to pump the opacity up to 5%, 0.5 on your keyboard. Right bracket to increase the brush size, and let's just right here along this right here, we're just going to do the smallest bit of highlight. Especially for right here, I want to blend that hard edge of the shadow right here. So this part of the finger is going to be the brightest, the first knuckle. And then it's going to darken as it goes down. Left bracket to decrease your brush size and just go along this edge here. To try to eat that line so it's not so dark. Right bracket to increase your brush size. Okay. Let's lower it to the opacity to 3%, 0.3 on your keyboard. Increase your brush size with the right bracket. And just feather out that dark edge here. Okay, and now we're going to do the same thing with this section here. Going along with the curvature of the finger. And we want to get rid of any hard edges. Like right here. I'm going to rotate my canvas a little, so hit R to rotate, and then just click and drag on your screen. If you're using a tablet or a mouse, you can just click and rotate. B for brush. And we're just gonna get right there where this little weird dark spot is at. I don't know what that is. That might have been like too dark of a shadow, or maybe that was just the line from the nail bed. I'm not sure. Well, we're gonna go ahead and get rid of that. Okay. Man, this is a freaking sick ass beat. Fucking love this stuff. Alright, that looks good. R to rotate, enter, 0, enter. Control 0 or Command 0 on the Mac to zoom out. Alright. It kind of looks weird right now, like it's half dead of the hand because it's like such a muted pinkish color over here, and then over here is like this bright ass pink. That's okay. We're gonna go ahead right here along this thumb here. This is going to be the brightest spot on this finger, is right here at the edge. We are going to put a little bit of a highlight along this kind of curved shape that we've got. It kind of looks like a circle that got pinched at the top. Pump up your opacity to 5%, so 0.5 on your keyboard. We're just going to go in that kind of curved shape. It's a little bright. Let's drop it back down to 3%. 0.3 on your keyboard. And then we're just going to go along inside these darker wrinkles that we have. And just blend. Okay, I think that's bright enough for that spot there. Let's go on to right here along this edge. I know I jump around a lot. I hope I'm not, like, overwhelming any audience members who are just like, whoa, wait, which finger are we going to now? I'm sure you guys will be fine. Okay. So this is going to actually be reflected light, this. We're gonna go ahead and just try to drown out that dark edge. Make your brush size smaller, just to get along this whole edge here, and just darken that. So we're gonna also do it here along this thumb, this side of the thumb. Yeah, we're gonna have to blend that out. That looks horrible, but it's okay. We're getting there. Ooh, 5% is too much. 0.3 for 3%, and we're just going to blend that down. Feather it out. going along with the curvature of the thumb and the hand, the palm here. If it makes it easier, just rotate your screen, hit R, and then drag your canvas to whatever position you need it in, and then hit B to go back to the brush tool. Let's make our brush size bigger with the right bracket, and just blend. Now we're going to blend this very light line with this dark here. I'm going to blend it out. How's everybody doing in the audience? Are y'all back from your break? Did you guys get a snack? What kind of snack do you guys got? Coffee, soda, chips, popcorn? Now we're just feathering this down. You do want to like get to the cyan and just blend. I haven't left my damn seat, Lamo. Oh, I meant like just in general. If anybody did leave to go grab a drink or something, or just trying to engage with the audience. Okay, so we're moving down here now, and we do want to make this cyan a little bit less expansive, so we're going to definitely blend it in. I hit R on the keyboard and then just drag the canvas to whichever position is best for you. B to go back to brush and just feather that out. Make sure to keep your opacity low for optimal blending. The next time I want to crochet a double-stranded item, please tell me no, Lamo. Oh boy. What's happening on your side there, Valerian? Does this app let you do like pictures? Because I would like to see what you're working on. That'd be cool. My hand hurts, lol. Uh-oh. Alright, make your brush size smaller with the left bracket and just get in along this dark line. And right here, we're gonna do a nice little bright tinge. Okay. I don't think it does pictures, but I believe I can drop a link in chat for what I'm working on, I think. Yeah, go for it, man. If anybody's also following along and creating something on their end, totally comment in the chat below. I'd love to see what you're working on. As long as it's, you know, nothing Nothing that's against YouTube's, you know, rules and whatnot. I don't want to get banned for something somebody else posted. Alright, R, enter, 0, enter. Control 0, Command 0 on a Mac just to zoom out. Alright. We are definitely getting there. I do want to blend this a little bit more. That does look a little wonky, so we're going to increase the brush size and just kind of blend. Same thing with this spot here. It's overly dark. I don't think it should be that dark. Okay. So the last part really is right here, and you know, of course, the little catch lights that are happening over here on the folds of the hand. Okay, so if anybody wants to check out, Valerian posted a link to a listing, something that they're working on, a crochet piece that they've been working on for their Etsy shop. They've linked it in the comments, so definitely check it out. They have a couple things for sale right now, some really awesome items that I've kind of stolen a couple of, you know, not literally stolen, but you know, I've tried on one or two of their ponchos and they're super soft. So definitely give them a, you know, give them a check out. Maybe even purchase something if you can. So now we're just going along with the brush super low at 3%. We're just going along and adding little bits of highlights here on the folds of the hand here. Just keeping the brush at a very low opacity. We don't want to add too much highlight, but we do want to add a little bit. Think of it as like a gouache or something. Probably butchered that word. But yeah, we're gonna go in here and just with the curvature of the hand, just go like that. I'm still in the process of making another Junimo for your army. Oh, I wish I could take pictures right now of my desk. I have two Junimos, two crochet Junimos sitting on my desktop, and they're both so freaking cute. I love looking over at them, and they just look like they're cheering me on. It's awesome. If anyone's like unsure, Junimos are cute little spirit characters from the game Stardew Valley. I've been obsessed with that game for the last couple of weeks. Been playing that shit every day for a couple hours. But yeah, Valerian here crocheted me a little black and green Junimo, and now I have this lilac and black Junimo. The two of them are just so freaking cute. They sit together on my desk and they're freaking adorable. Alright, let's zoom out and see what we're looking at. Control 0 or Command 0 on a Mac. R, enter, 0, enter. Probably should have did that first. Control 0, Command 0 on a Mac. Okay. So the palm is looking better. We do need to add the highlights to this side of the wrist. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. Let's go ahead and let's pop up the opacity to 5%, so 0.5 on your keyboard. Control plus or Command plus on a Mac to zoom in. And then hold down your spacebar and just drag your canvas to the section you need to be at. We're actually a little too close, so let's Control minus to zoom out a little bit, or Command minus on the Mac. Right bracket to increase your brush size. And let's go along this edge. So I'm just going to keep switching between making the brush size bigger and smaller with the left and right bracket. The left bracket is to decrease and the right bracket is to increase the size. That way I don't keep saying it over and over. And we're just going to blend that out. Making sure that this edge is the brightest part of the wrist. When it comes to the highlight, anyway. Just gonna go along this line, and you're gonna try to cover the line art a little. It's okay if it still sticks out a little. I probably said that like 20 times in this stream. That's alright. Okay. And now we're just gonna pull it out, blend down. If you need to, just like zoom out a little bit. That way you can see a little better what you're doing. We're gonna make this brush pretty big and just pull that down. Let's lower the opacity to 3%, so 0.3 on your keyboard. So the point of this is to just add a little like gouache. We're not trying to make it super bright on this section, but we do want the entire wrist to have that pink, that light pink. It will affect the piece in the end, so trust me. Alright, we're just gonna get in here. Making sure there isn't any hard edges. We want this to be as blended as possible. Okay. And along this spot right here, this is the tendon of the wrist that's happening. We're just going to do a little catch light. Okay. So for right here, I do want to add a little bit of gouache, but I don't want it to be too overbearing. So we're going to lower the opacity to 1%, so 0.1. This is literally just to add the pink. It's not... just to give it that little hint of the pink color. So we're going to do that all along this section of the hand and the palm. We're going to pull this way, all along this area. Make your brush bigger and just blend. See, like right here, I want to blend it so that the tendon isn't that long. It shouldn't look like it's all the way down this way, you know? Well, technically it is that long, but you know. It doesn't look that long in the picture. We only see like this little bit right here sticking out. So, we're going to use a highlight to kind of make that look less long, if that makes sense. Micro tendon. Okay, and then right here, let's just do the littlest bit of wash of this pink color. If you see that you have something like this that's like a hard edge of the shadow, just blend your pink in there at a very low opacity. Yeah, I'm a fan of the burnishing technique that most people, how to say, a technique that I used with color pencils before, which is basically when you take the white color and just layer it on to blend the colors together. If you've got like different colors on top of each other, then you add the white on top to blend the colors together. So that's something I typically do when I'm painting, whether it's digitally or whether it's like with color pencils. I'm a fan of the burnishing technique. There are many different techniques out there, so if burnishing doesn't work for you, that's totally fine. Do what makes what makes you feel good about your art, you know? The whole point of this is to have fun. You don't have to follow along exactly if you don't feel up to it, you know? If you do try a different technique and you work on a hand piece like this, totally send it to me in the comments, you know? I would love to see how your technique worked for you and what you came up with. R, enter 0, enter, command 0 or control 0 on Windows. Okay. We're looking good. What I do want to do is that burnishing, I do want to continue on over here on the fingers. I didn't really do that over here. So we're just going to do a big brush with your opacity very low at 1%. You're just going to do the smallest bit of burnishing here. So we're going to start from the lighter sections where the highlight is and just pull it out. And we're going to do that on each finger. Okay. Just going along the palm here. Trying to keep going with the curvature of the palm. And we're gonna lower the brush size and get into the folds here. Just so everything has a nice wash of this pink color. It will harmonize the piece in the end. I hope I'm making sense because I have an idea of what it's supposed to look like in the end, but it's difficult for me to explain in the process, you know, while I'm working on it. My freaking autistic brain go burr. Don't know how to explain. Must not speak. Alright. I think we're good with this so far. This is looking good. There are some things that I would like to correct here and there, but I think we're mostly doing well here, I think. So far, I think this is the best hand out of the series that I've done. It's like getting better as I go along with this, as I continue this series. Like hand 4 compared to like hand 1, there's like a very huge difference. I don't know if that's just me. Definitely check out part 1, 2, and 3 on my channel if you want to see the other 3 parts. This is part 4. This is the second chapter of part 4. For any new people who might be confused. Like, which part is what? What am I doing? Which video is what? I'm mad lost. Alright, let's do it on a hard save real quick. So, Control S or Command S on a Mac. While it's saving, you know, go ahead, grab some snacks, grab some water, make sure you stay hydrated. Stand even and, you know, shake your legs out. Sitting for long periods of time is bad for the back, you know? Oh, did anybody hear that? That was my elbow. I did say stretch. Alright, I think we're good. That reverbed in the mic so loud, Lamo. Sorry? I wasn't expecting my elbow joint to just crack. Alright. Let's go ahead. I want to take a quick look at the reference photo. I kind of want to add a little bit of that purple color. The purple, the dark purple shadow color that we had going. Just with the lowest opacity, we're just doing a nice little wash of it here. We lost a little bit of that dark shadow here on the edge of this palm. So we're just putting a little bit of that back in. Not too much. Keep your brush very low opacity. Yeah. Maybe 3%. Let's see how. This right here is particularly dark. Especially right along this line here. So we're just adding a little bit of shadow. Could probably pump it up to 5%. Ooh boy, full power, 5%. R to rotate, and then just drag your canvas around until you find the position that works best for you. And let's just add a little bit of shadow right here. Is my humor dry? Alright, I think that's good. Yeah, that looks a lot better now. We're just pulling that kind of shadow right there, pulling it down to follow this edge of the thumb. This is looking good, if I do say so myself. Not perfect, but you know, nothing is ever perfect, right? I kind of want to do that over here as well on this finger. This finger lost its shadow a lot. Just a little bit. The other fingers kept their shadow, but I probably went a little too aggressive with the brush here on this finger. That's okay. There we go. I think a little bit of, yeah, feathering can't fix. I'm just gonna pull this out right here. It's bothering me. Keeping your brush really low. I'm gonna actually drop it to 3%, so 0.3 on your keyboard. And we're just gonna pull that out. There we go. Okay. All right. Yeah. Looking good. So from here, let's see. You probably could start working on the fingernails, since that's like the absolute last thing I wanted to work on. I could probably pick at this for hours and be like, no, let's make this part right here a little bit darker. Let's make this part over here a little brighter. But I'm going to, with intention, stop myself from being a perfectionist and picking at it, and let's move on to the nail beds. So let's go ahead over here on the color picker. I want to find a nice blue color, a dark blue. So when I think of the color black, the first thing I think of is like space. So you know those different kinds of colors that you find in dead space? Now, I'm not talking about like a nebula that has all these bright colors. I'm talking about like black, dark blue, dark purple. That's what I think of when I look at my nail polish, my black nail polish. So I'm gonna find a color that kind of makes me feel like it's space-worthy. That looks pretty okay there. Just a little brighter. Maybe we should just stick, this color here is safe for most monitors, so let's go ahead and just stick with that color. What we're gonna do from here is pump up that color pretty bright to 30%. So just hit 3 on your keyboard, and that should give you 30%. We're going to zoom in on the pinky, since this nail is the biggest one that we can see compared to the other 4. We have 3 fingers. Okay, so from here, R to rotate, because I do want to paint along the edge of this. So we're going to rotate the position to, to make that the most easiest for you. Lower your brush size with the left bracket. Now, from here, thinking about where the light is, the shadows are, this is like a middle ground blue, so it shouldn't be... This here is going to be the darkest part. This here is going to be the brightest, and this is going to be that cyan color. So this here is where the blue is going to probably lie. Let's Control Z or Command Z on a Mac to undo those 2 things that I just did. And we're going to just pop that color right there. This is going to be your midpoint. Okay. Same thing over here. Let's go ahead and add our midpoint. Okay. These are kind of just little crescents, so I could probably just do the smallest bit and call it a day for these nails. I don't think we'll need to do too many colors for these. Plus, it might take the focus off of the piece, which is supposed to be the hand itself and the palm area. So let's just fill that in with this color for right now. We're going to come back and clean that up, of course. So over here, this is going to be the brightest section. This nail is going to be brighter than the other nails because of where it is, where it's lying, where the light is. So we're going to do the littlest bit of blue right here, and that's it. That's going to be very bright. So we're going to come back with a light gray and brighten that up. But for here, we're going to pick now a bluish dark gray color. That looks good. From here, we're going to just add it. Maybe 20% opacity. We're going to rotate the screen, actually. Okay. And we're just going to blend that in with that blue. And then feather it out. Okay. I don't like to use straight black, so let me make that very clear. I don't use straight black with anything. Though this gray here is almost pretty black, so I am going to brighten this up a bit because it is a little dark. But, yeah. Let's go ahead, actually... Let's go ahead and get the eyedropper tool with the eye. Click eye to get the eyedropper tool. We're gonna get the... Actually, I had cyan as the foreground. Just click X. Don't do what I did. And go back to the bright cyan color. Drop your opacity to 10% by clicking 1 on your keyboard. We're gonna lower the brush size and just get that in right there. Oh shit. Okay, I did something bad, but I'm going to use this as a learning opportunity. I put the blue highlight on the wrong side of the nail. So we're just going to Control Z or Command Z on the Mac and undo that. Wow, what a noob mistake. Okay, this side of the nail. Let's go ahead and just add right here. I'm also fixing that horrible edge that I did with the line art. So we're just gonna go in a nice hard line here for your nail. Let's lower the opacity to 3%, so hit 0.3 on your keyboard, and we're going to blend that out. Okay. From here, I want to pick up that dark gray color I had again. It might be hard to get it now that we did a wash, but that's okay. We're going to brighten it, put like a lighter gray, like a slate gray kind of. We're going to put that in right here. Let's pump up the opacity to 10%, so hit 1 on your keyboard. And we're going to put that right there. This is going to be your base for when we add the highlight color. And now we're going to blend it. Okay, I'm going to rotate the screen and just blend across. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and add that cyan color over here. Make sure your opacity is at 10%. And just make a nice hard edge along this nail. Drop your brush size and just get into that little corner there. And you're gonna go over your line art and just completely eat that away with this bright cyan color. From there, actually I need that dark gray back, so we're gonna go ahead and just boop. Yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and just blend that in right there. It needs to be a little bit more on the blue side, on the darker blue side. There we go. Blend it in. Just feather it towards that lighter blue, that like electric blue color that we added. Okay. So I'm going to use this as the shadow for over here, because since it's just crescents, you don't really need to do much with these nails. Okay. Over here, we're just going to like eat that dark line that's happening right there. That dark blue line. And blend it down. Okay. This is looking cool. It's not finished, but it's looking cool. Okay, drop your opacity to 5%, so hit 0.5 on your keyboard, and we're just going to get rid of any hard edges that are happening. Let's hit back. Alright, let's yeah, let's hit X to go back to the other color and grab that cyan, the bright cyan color. Trying to figure out a good spot that has a good collection of pixels so that it looks bright. Maybe right here. Alright, that works. Okay, we're going to drop the opacity to 3%, so 0.3, and just blend up. Okay. Let's bring this back up to 5%, 0.5 on your keyboard. Okay. Just gonna put the smallest bit of the cyan highlight here. Okay, and right here. And blend. Okay. Okay. Now let's take that blue that's been blended with the light gray and the dark gray and the cyan. Let's pull that back out. And we're gonna do, yeah, 3%, make sure your opacity is pretty low. And now we're gonna blend that on top. Yeah. Okay. Okay. R, enter, 0, enter, control 0, command 0 on the Mac to center, to fit the canvas to your screen. Alright, let's take a look at what we've got so far. So we just added that cyan highlight to the nails. We do have to add the actual highlight from the regular light. The regular highlight that's going to be along this side of this nail and this side of this nail. We will be adding it to this side, these two nails too, and a little bit on this side. But let's not do too much because we don't want those nails to be overly saturated with color, and it might take away from the overall piece. So let's go ahead and get a nice bright gray color, like maybe there. That looks good to me. And we're going to pump up the opacity to 5%, so hit 0.5. Okay, so now Control plus or Command plus on a Mac and zoom in. Starting with this nail. Actually zoomed in a little too much. Command minus or Control minus on a PC to zoom back out. R to rotate your canvas, and just click and drag with your mouse or your pen tool, whatever you're using, to rotate your canvas to whatever side you need it on. And now with this, we're going to go along this hard edge. Okay. Just to eat that away a little bit. I'm just gonna brighten that section right there. Now, because of the where the highlight is, there's going to be a light, a bright white light right along this edge. So we're going to just increase your brush size and just add that along. You could make this even lighter. If you wanted to do like a straight white, you probably could, but I would do it with the littlest bit of blue tinge to it, like that. Okay. All right. So I do want to add this bright color to the rest of the nail. We're going to lower the opacity all the way to 1%, so hit 0.1 on your keyboard. And we're just going to give it a nice wash of this bright bluish white color. Okay. Now over here, pump it back up to 3%. We're going to add a highlight. The littlest bit. Okay. 0.1 opacity. Let's just give it a nice wash of this color. Okay, that's good for me. Now over here is going to be a little more tricky because of the angle of the nail, but you do want to add a little bit of brightness to it. So especially right here along this edge, pump your opacity back up to 3%, 0.3 on your keyboard, and just go along this edge right here. That gives it like a perspective. Isn't that interesting? Just a little bit of color does to your piece. It gives it like a more 3D effect. So from here, we're going to add that nice bright color. And then we're going to feather it out. I'm just going to add a little bit of that gray back so that this cyan isn't as expansive. It's a little far for my taste. There we go. We do want to see some darkness in this. Okay. Using that dark gray color, we're going to go back in here and kind of add like a nail shadow to the skin. Go along this top right edge of the nail. You do want to follow the line, of course, but make sure this part right here is the darkest. Okay, let's zoom out and see what we've got. So first let's hit R to rotate, enter, 0, enter. Control 0, Command 0 on a Mac to zoom out. Alright, okay, we have to do the pinky now. Let's go ahead and Control plus to zoom in. Damn humans, and there's so many fingers. Rotate your canvas until you got a position that works for you. let's go ahead and just add a bright... Oops. Undo that. First hit X to go back to that bright color you was using. There we go. And now just with the low opacity, add a nice little bright highlight here. And we're going to feather it back out. Okay. All along this edge, just add a nice bright light and then feather it back out. Okay. Alright, and now let's add our highlights. Okay. From here, I do see that our edge got a little lost, so I'm going to take that darker gray color. Actually, I don't even really need to do that. We do have the dark color on the other side, so let's just hit X and grab that color, B to go back to the brush tool, and then let's just pronounce that edge a little bit more. Not too dark, but enough that you can see it, you know? Plus it'll give it like a nice little shadow underneath the nail. Okay. R to rotate, enter 0, enter Control 0, Command 0 on a Mac, B to go back to brush. And let's just throw down a hard save and see where we're at. So this looks good. I'm sure there's hundreds of things I could fix and, you know, prune and change, but I think let's call it a night. We've been streaming for a couple hours. This hand looks pretty decent. So let's go ahead with the eraser tool. Click E for the eraser tool. Let's go ahead and prune the edges a little bit and get rid of anything that's too, you know, unsightly. I'm gonna clean up the edge a little bit here. Anything like the color going too far off the line art, we're going to just prune that off a little bit. I do want to fix the nail bed here. It's a little... it sticks out a lot further than my nail actually does. But keep your brush size pretty low and just go along. It's just to clean up here and there. If you folks feel, you know, generous enough, please consider subscribing to my channel. I post new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Tuesday are live stream days over on my Twitch channel, which is also linked in the description below. Thursdays are the Creative Corner days. Those are... oop, crap. Control Z or Command Z on a Mac to undo that. Those are usually time-lapse videos or pre-recorded content. Today I decided to do a little different and, you know, live stream as I was working on this piece. But usually it's just like time lapses, which are shorter videos. But who knows, if you folks enjoyed this live stream, maybe I might live stream the Creative Corner days. That would be every Thursday at 6 p.m. anywhere between 6 and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me know in the comments if you guys prefer content like this, where it's just live commentary from me as I'm working on the pieces, rather than a time lapse of the piece fully done. You know, like a sped up time lapse. Okay. And Saturday are the Battle Cats days. Those are pre-recorded footage of different battles that I've covered. Typically they're like walkthroughs. Or at the very least, you know, something that you can use in case you're stuck on a level and you're not sure what to do, even what cats to put. That's really the intention behind those videos. Those are every Saturday at 3 p.m. on my YouTube channel. I will link the Creative Corner playlist in the description below, so you can definitely check that out if you're interested in more content like this. Also want to give a nice shout out to Valerian Faye. Thank you for being the most amazing mod ever. Always here supporting me and this channel, so thank you very much for your service. Thank you for streaming. I adore all of this. Oh, thank you. I'm grateful to hear that. I also really enjoy the colors of this hand. Oh yeah, you do? I'm glad to hear that. I know this hand was a little different. My skin tone is a little more yellow than pink, so I did go off a little bit of the reference photo. That's okay. You could probably prune all these lines off if you really wanted to. All these dark edges here from the line art. I'm not going to do all that, but yeah, I'm going to take a little bit off. There we go. And over here we had like a nice bit of overlap from the bright color, the bright pink color. So we're just gonna, with a hard, large brush, we're just going to go ahead and erase. Come on now. Photoshop is like, nope, I don't want to do that. Yeah. Just to clean up this edge here. We don't want a lot of overlapping colors out in the background, you know? Just cleaning that edge up a little. Alright, but I think this looks good here. So let's go ahead and hit R, enter, 0, enter. Control 0, Command 0 on the Mac, and there it is, folks. There is the finished piece. I'm going to throw down a hard save. Control S or Command S on the Mac to save. But I think that's going to do it for us today, folks. Let's go ahead and throw my signature on. Yeah. I really hope you all appreciated the stream. And if you all like this kind of content, I'll do more live streams like this on Creative Corner Days, which is every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, thanks for watching, and stay creepy!